to have been here. Unfortunately, he sends his best wishes to you. Unfortunately, there's a bereavement in the family. Otherwise, he would have joined in today.
Oh, gosh.
I know. Seems like bad news all around, doesn't it?
I was hoping you were going to say he's working and can't make it, which would have been wonderful news. But he was wonderful.
I think he's actually left the acting industry now. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. I mean, we did it and we all lost touch with each other, you know. I was very close to Bill Marlowe.
William, he was a brilliant actor, William Marlowe. Yeah.
And oh God, Derek, he left for Casualty.
Derek Thompson, yes. Oh, he wasn't in the last series of Gentle Touch, was he? Yeah, I remember that.
He wasn't in the last couple, yeah. And Brian Westcott. I mean, it was a very nice crew, and that was really thanks to JIll Gascoine being very undiverish and very mothering, and just actually, it's a bit lovyish, but very loving. I mean, she was everybody, even guests who just came in said, "My God, she's so nice, isn't she? She's the leading lady, but she just makes everybody feel relaxed."
Do you know, there was a flurry of tributes when she sadly passed away last year. Twitter exploded, well, social media exploded with tributes to JIll Gascoine, and you heard from lots of EastEnders actors. I think Jake Wood, he'd been a little boy in The Gentle Touch.
Oh, there were loads.
In one episode. Yeah, Patsy Palmer, she'd been in one.
Gosh.
Very, very young.
Well, yes, weren't we all?
Oh, yes. Well, I was only born. I've got to tell you, I was only, because a lot of people said, well, you weren't born when The Gentle Touch was on. I was born in 79. Now, how I got into Gentle Touch, just to let you know, it was through the sequel, Cat's Eyes, which we'll talk about a bit later, because that was,
that put us unemployed.
Well, I thought, what a strange, because I watched Cat's Eyes first, then several years later, watched Gentle Touch out of interest because I'd loved Cat's Eyes so much, and you couldn't really compare the two programs together. They were completely different, weren't they?
It was very odd that she was persuaded that she didn't need all these men around her. Who does? And she'd be better off with all these ladies around her.
Yeah.
But there's something in our culture that, you know, a man being aggressive and running around with a gun and what have you is acceptable. But it wasn't really acceptable for Jill. She was the Gentle Touch. She was intelligent. She was warm-hearted and had authority as well. So I think it was a big mistake. We were supposed to become the Bill.
Oh, really?
To transfer the Gentle Touch into half-hour episodes in the Bill, and that was Bill Marlowe's idea.
No way. Well, that would have been a good idea.
So we don't like Cat's Eyes. It put us all unemployed, and it was on the.
Well, I did have a question about that anyway. Well, that's towards the end of the one. I mean, we will be talking about Dame Barbara Windsor, of course, for people that have just tuned in later. But the first part, we're going to be talking about Jill now. So I wanted to start off a question about you, Paul, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. As I was saying, just before we were on air, many recognise you for shows like Pride and Prejudice, EastEnders, of course, and A Touch of Frost. So I wondered, do you still get recognised, you know, or people talking to you about The Gentle Touch?
Yes, but I no longer look like the people I was playing then, so it's very rare. But it does happen still, yeah. And people still are very nice. You know, I don't understand people say, oh, I hate people coming up to me and asking for selfies. Well, actually, Jill said that once when we were filming. Yeah. And one of the crew said, you'll be sorry when it stops. Mm-hmm. I thought, yes, when they stop asking you and recognizing you and saying, oh, could you do this or whatever? Yeah. Mm. So it's an anonymous life down here in Sussex, but very nice.
But I mean, it's been 40 years, over 40 years now since The Gentle Touch. So not to, sorry about that, but I think it's a huge compliment that people...
Actually, I think it's 15 years since I was in EastEnders.
Yeah.
And I was in A Touch of Frost before that, left that. David just, oh, yeah, you're going to EastEnders then. You don't want to be working with me anymore. Well, it's about 50 times the money, David.
Well, I can imagine, yeah. And I imagine because EastEnders at that point went out to like 15, 20 million viewers at that time. It was before social media and streaming sites had taken hold on the world. And so I imagine that's how so many people recognize you for that.
Yeah. I did the first episode that I was in, and I was just, it was 2 little scenes. And I was walking along the seafront in Brighton on a Friday night. It had just gone out. And I just heard this, send us. And already, people were there, they knew. And I was quite taken aback, having been mainly in theatre and what have you, and people don't sort of recognise you. There's a lot of national theatre actors where I didn't recognise anybody. Then suddenly, the whole of Brighton seafront is saying, "Oh, it's him. He was in it."
And how did you feel about that? I mean, did you enjoy it, or did you find it a bit intimidating?
Yeah. When you've been anonymous for quite a long time, although the gentle touch, you see, we didn't have that notoriety at the time. We weren't in all the tabloids and God knows what.
No, it was a different kind of culture back then. Actors
Totally
were actors, they weren't celebrities, were they?
That's right. There was no Hello magazine and all that sort of thing. Some agency came along and said, "Would you like us to represent you? It will be 25% and we'll get you in all the papers and all that sort of thing." And I thought, I don't really want to be in all the papers, thanks. And it's just a job. I quite like doing this job.
Yeah, you want to be an actor, you don't want to be a celebrity. There's quite a few people from around your era that say that to me.
I do now.
Yeah, I know they do.
Too late. I should have gone that way. But, as you said, there wasn't that culture then.
No.
So as big as Jill was, she wasn't plastered all over the papers and goodness knows what, and asked to be on quiz programs and things, which they are now. Well, the same crew, don't they?
Yes, of course, and reality TV shows. I take it you wouldn't participate in a reality TV show then?
No,
I don't blame you.
A line from a John Wayne film, or many John Wayne films, he said, "Don't ask me to spit on my life." And one of those things, eating a bug or something. Does it really come to this for money? Is money so important? Well, of course it is for lots of people, me included. But things you'll do for money, there has to be a line, I think.
Of course.
Even you, Ian. Even you.
For me, yes. Well, I mean, you're not on social media, are you, Paul?
No, I'm not.
No, that's something you've never wanted to do, or?
It's sort of unbelievable, but I had 3 stalkers. I was
really
acting, yeah.
Wow.
And so I didn't want to be on that. They were perfectly pleasant, 3 very pleasant ladies, really pleasant. But
they hounded you.
Yeah, they thought I was Jake Barrett.
Oh, I see. Yes, people that can't separate fact from fiction.
Yeah, and sort out your life for you, because he was a nice kind of guy, but he could throw a punch if necessary, big deal.
Oh, yes, he did throw a few punches in the gentle touch, I do remember. Yes.
Next boxer or something. And in EastEnders as well, I got letters from people saying, "You think you're tough and I'm going to sort you out," and what have you.
That's bizarre.
It wasn't as bad as people are getting now. The trolling now is, I can't imagine what it must be, especially for young actors and actresses and people in the public light. MPs as well, everybody. They seem to be easy targets. It's horrible.
Especially on social media.
Yeah, yes.
Vicious, can be a really vicious.
It can. So I have no desire to be on social media.
Well, that's very sensible. I'd say, I've always said to people, if it wasn't for doing interviews like these, I'd probably come off social media myself with the amount of...
Oh, you need it. It feeds you, doesn't it?
Yeah. You get caught up in all the negativity. It's very easy to do that.
Yeah, and they're in a hub or whatever, and they talk to each other and say what they're doing, fine. But when people are saying, "I'm in a lift at Selfridges,"
yeah, you do get that, and it's really, or pictures of their meals, what they're having for lunch or tea, and it's okay. Thanks for that.
It's so narcissistic, isn't it? Why would I want to know what you're having for your tea?
Yeah. So those are the perils of social media, especially Facebook.
You discovered the meaning of life or something, and you want to share it with us, well, great. Very interesting.
Well, that's why I prefer Twitter, actually, because Twitter can be quite constructive. It depends on who you follow, but yeah. Okay.
Well, we'll have to guess who you follow, Ian.
I follow lots. I don't follow. I think the only person I've ever fell out with on Twitter is a famous person, was Piers Morgan once, and he blocked me. And I can't say I'm really bothered about it. I can't even remember what it was about. But he blocked me, and I thought, I'm not even that important. Why would you block me? Why am I a threat to you?
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? His
So
narcissism is so big that he's as big as Trump's, I should think.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not a
Well,
pleasant
Trump's
gentleman.
been taken off Twitter now.
Of course he has, yes. What
Yes, he's
happened to
been
him?
banned now, so I'm glad about that.
It's an odd sort of thing, isn't it? What is liberty? What is free speech? How damaging can it be? What are we going to do about it?
Mm. Oh,
I don't know.
this is an ongoing topic on Twitter every day. So to be honest with you, I've got to the point now where I just, well, most of the time, keep quiet and just don't retaliate or don't interact with people
It's
like
the
that.
wisest thing because you're giving them some sort of odd pleasure by retaliating and, oh, I'm really winding them up. Look, they're really upset. Don't give
Yes,
them that. Why?
silence is golden, as they say.
It is. It,
Yes.
particularly if you're a politician.
Yes,
If only.
definitely. Right, well, do you
Well,
want to talk more about the gentle touch? The second question is for you, just about you, because prior to the gentle touch, you'd appeared in many TV series like Coronation Street,
yeah,
Z-Cars, and you played a detective in that as well, didn't you?
I played a detective, and in a later series of Z-Cars, I played a burglar. So,
Oh, so you played multiple roles. Okay. I
yeah,
gather you were also in The Sweeney and Minder and so
Sweeney.
many more.
Yeah.
But I just wondered, how did the part of the gentle touch come about? Did you read with JIll Gascoine at your audition, and had you known or worked with Jill before? I know it's a bit of a three-part.
There used to be a place called the Acton Hilton, which was the BBC rehearsal rooms in Acton, a
Yeah.
sort of skyrise, and everybody used to rehearse there. The days when you used to rehearse, and we shared sort of a green room with the Oneidin line,
Oh.
and so Jill was there, and who was the other lady who ended up in James Bond film?
Oh.
American Indian woman or something she was in as well.
Oh, yeah. I think I know what you mean. Can't remember
Yeah.
the name off the top of my head.
So they were there, and sometimes pants people, what have you, all sorts of people would end up there. And Jane Seymour, and she obviously looked very beautiful, long hair and everything, but something slightly missing. And there was this other woman there who just looked like a real person, you know, like whether she could be a mother or a lover or God knows what, but she was thoughtful and she looked at people. They didn't want people looking at her, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
She engaged with people, and I thought, oh, she looks, you know, a really nice, intelligent woman. And I never saw her again until I went for the audition. My mum had bought me a second-hand Crombie overcoat, long black overcoat,
Crombie, yes.
and second-hand. And I walked in and had the interview, and they said, oh, yeah. And as I left, they said, oh, just one thing. Would you be prepared to use the overcoat? So I didn't get the part. My overcoat got me the part.
I was going to say, I remember the overcoat because he wore that in most episodes, didn't he?
Yeah. Bit of style. And actually, after about 3 episodes, they were going to give me the push because his storyline was that he was to have an affair with Maggie, and they said, I heard this from Bill Marlowe. They said that you were too young, so it didn't look right. But he and JIll Gascoine fought for me to still be in it. So, you know, actors don't do that. They don't go to producers and say, look, I know you're thinking of getting rid of him, but we'd like him to stay. So that's thanks to Jill and Bill that they kept me on, really. And they said I could be her minder, like her dog was the phrase. The dog guarding her. And she couldn't drive, so I did all the driving for her as well. So
that's interesting because I had a question about the driving thing, and I also was going to mention, because in that very first episode, I actually felt there was a bit of I put this in a later question, but we'll talk about it now. Now you've mentioned it, because in that very first episode, I sensed that perhaps with Jake and Maggie, had they been in another place, another time, perhaps they could have got together. I felt like there was quite a spark between them.
Well, you know, Jill got on with everybody, and I certainly got on very well with her. And you know, who wouldn't fall in love with somebody like that?
She's got beautiful eyes, didn't she?
Oh, that's how she got the part, apparently. The
Yeah.
producer saw her, I don't know if it was the Oneidin line or something else, when she was murdered and she was lying on the floor. And he said he saw these eyes and he thought, that's my Maggie Forbes. It's
Really?
weird how these things take place, isn't it?
Very, yes. And she was a corpse playing a corpse, and that's how I got the part.
Yes, yes, yes. Dead on arrival, and then she did the Gentle Touch, and unfortunately, after Cat's Eyes, that kind of killed her career because people only wanted to see her as Maggie
Maggie.
Forbes. So
Yeah,
when she was on tour in plays, I saw her at Eastbourne, and there was hardly anybody there. Had
really.
she been in a thriller, maybe playing a detective,
Mm.
maybe people would have wanted to see her, but they didn't want to see that. Destry Rides Again, where she met Fred Molina,
Her husband, yeah.
her husband. They did that at the Donmar in London. And it wasn't full at all because she was playing a Marlene Dietrich part. She was so good as Maggie that, a bit like Stratford Johns, I suppose, as D.I.
Yeah.
Barlow, if you remember him in Z-Cars.
Mm.
In those days, people did get typecast, and they don't so much anymore. They move from one project to the next, don't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Odd.
So it was strange because I mean, Jill moved to America, didn't she, at the late 80s to America with Alfred, her husband?
With Fred, yeah.
Yeah, I think she became an author for a while as well, didn't she? Write some novels.
Some novels. She wasn't. She was a very tough lady. She had two difficult marriages. I think they were full marriages. One was a bit of an alcoholic. One was a gambler.
Yeah.
She ended up in a hotel room with two boys, and they were sleeping in the drawers that she pulled out
Oh
to
no.
make them into sort of little beds for them. And she fought through that. I mean, Barbara Windsor's another one, tough ladies
And they
take
got
care of
through it,
themselves.
survived.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really survived. And then, yeah, she went to America. I was over there doing a play with the National and met Fred. And he said, I'll try and get you, it's a bit difficult to see her now because this was a long time ago. She'd had Alzheimer's for years.
Yeah, it was a good 10-year battle, wasn't it? Was it 10 years?
I think at least 10 years, I should think.
Yeah.
And he was filming and he said, I'm sorry, Paul, I can't get away from, what it's like. I said, no, I don't, Fred, what it's like in filming in Hollywood. I'd love to, but I never got to see her.
Oh no.
He said she's not Jill anymore,
It was very sad. And I mean, when she passed away last year, I honestly thought that like ITV with Jill being one of the leading ladies of 80s in the 80s, I would have thought they'd have done a documentary by now. I mean, to my knowledge, I don't think they have they?
No, I don't think not. I don't think they've even shown an episode of The Gentle Touch because it was done by London Weekend Television.
Yes.
The Touch, and that sort of closed down on the South Bank there. So I don't know. It was on Dave. People were saying, "Oh, I've seen you on the Gentle." They're showing all episodes.
Because Gentle Touch got rerun on Talking Pictures recently.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yes. But I always wondered, I was going to mention this because obviously shows like The Sweeney and Minder have kind of lived on with endless repeats, and Gentle Touch kind of like didn't get repeated as much. I mean, I watched it in the 90s when it was on Granada Plus, I think it was, and that was out of interest because of Cat's Eyes. And then I watched Gentle Touch and thought, no, I much prefer Gentle Touch because of obviously they explored her life and Jill got to show off her acting qualities a lot more than she did in Cat's Eyes. Yeah.
I think the trouble was that the Gentle Touch, we only had 2 days filming.
Oh.
And we'd have rehearsals and we'd be in the studio for 2 days. One Thursday technical, Friday we'd do the whole rest of the show. And it was very script bound, really. Terrific scripts about real things.
Yes.
Anti-Semitism, anti-feminism, all sorts of things were incorporated into the show. But I think it was too wordy for a modern audience, which is a shame. And, scenes would last quite a long time. But with the Sweeney,
yeah.
In fact, somebody in the studio said that the Gentle Touch was brought in because the government didn't really like the image of the police in the Sweeney.
I had heard that a little. I read something about that when I was looking into it all, and I thought, is that true? So it is true.
Apparently, it was true, and the advertisers said with John Thor and Dennis Waterman slopping about the place, they found it difficult to sell clothes and things and products.
I see.
And I mean, I was dressed in Austin Reed stuff for the Gentle Touch. And I said, well, can't we get a Mac out of one of the charity shops, so it looks like it's, oh no. And one day I came in, I was meant to have been on night operations or something. So I came in all scruffy and unshaved, a bit like I look now. And the producer said, can you get him to make up and make him look more cosmetic? And he said to me, it's all getting a bit real. So, it was the acceptable face of the police, really. And
Yeah,
I think we were all pretty good. I don't think any of us laid a finger on anybody.
No, I don't think you did. And I mean, it was Margaret Thatcher's era, of course, wasn't it? Yeah.
And so they wanted a more positive view of the police than the Sweeney was giving them. And Jill, of course, as the Gentle Touch, this strong woman. I mean, Margaret Thatcher, not really a Gascoine look-alike.
No.
Strong woman, but she had, unlike Margaret Thatcher, she had compassion for people she was dealing with. And then when Juliet Bravo came on, I think they followed the same kind of pattern.
Well, that's actually because I was going to say that, Gentle Touch. I write the questions down, you see, so I know where I'm going, so I don't forget, because the Gentle Touch hit TV screens in early 1980, breaking new ground, which should never be underestimated because it was a turning point, with Jill being the first ever leading lady in a British police drama series, beating Juliet Bravo, I think, by just a matter of months. I had lots of arguments with people online about this who say, I thought Juliet Bravo, and I always point out, no, it was Gentle Touch first. No. So don't have that. Well, because
I was at university with Stephanie Turner, who was Juliet Bravo.
Oh, really? Oh, coincidence? No way.
Yes.
Well, when
Jill was better. Gentle Touch was I thought it was really good, actually. Yeah, I think it had sort of depth and, as I said, good scripts about something, but that was because we couldn't go filming. We couldn't go charging around in cars all the time.
No. And I mean, I thought it was really gritty as well. I mean, there were some disturbing storylines. I remember, I think one episode was about a child pornography racket, which was quite, And I mean, the opening title sequences, at the very first series, I think those pictures that they shown, I don't know if you can remember now, because they changed it from series 2 onwards, didn't they?
They made
titles,
more glamorous in the series.
The first one was quite hardcore, the pictures at the time, weren't they?
Yeah, well, one of the writers on it said, it's Friday night and it's all very dark, but because it was slightly more in touch with the reality than Midsummer Murders,
Oh,
slightly.
It was, yes.
You know what I mean? It was a kind of a reflection of what was going on in London.
I do find it holds a mirror up to what was going on at that time, the social and political commentary going into it, because one of the things I was going to pick up was, I've got a question for you about that later, about the society and how society is different in these little things I've picked up on Gentle Touch. But I just wanted to ask you, because when that first episode aired, can you remember the media and public's reaction to it and what attitudes were like towards a lady leading a police drama? As obviously it was different back in 1980. Was it positive or?
It was very positive. I've never heard any, because she had such authority at the same time as being this lovely person with beautiful eyes and all the rest of it. But she had authority. You could believe that she was running that station, and obviously everybody respected her. There was no kind of, in Helen Mirren's one, there were lots of the coppers who was, we don't like her, do we, and all that.
A woman,
There was that. It was very supportive towards a woman. It wasn't people undermining her. So, I think it was very positive. And people did find it a bit dark at first. They expected after the Sweeney that there'd be a bit more rumpy-pumpy and knocking people about. But it soon settled down into, had huge viewing figures.
Yes. And I mean, in that first episode, of course, was a two-parter where Leslie Schofield played the husband, and he got killed before the end of part 1, which was a twist that I wasn't expecting when I was watching that.
Yeah, and Line of Duty, they say, oh, we've killed somebody off very early on, but actually it was the first episode of The Gentle Touch. They
Yeah.
kill off one of the leading characters and leave her alone, which again deepened her character. She had Nigel to look after and bring up her teenage boys, but it never kind of over intruded. I don't like detective stories where it's all about the teenage horror at home and, oh,
Yeah.
I've missed the school sports day and all that. You think that's so cliched. Mainly she got on with doing her job, which was great.
Yeah, because I always thought it was interesting, kind of, seeing how her personal life contrasted with her work life. Occasionally you'd see her having romances and stuff, which was always interesting, wasn't it?
An attractive woman like that, she's bound to have.
She did have quite a few. Bernard Holly was one of her boyfriends, wasn't it?
Bernard Holly, yeah. Yes, very, and he wooed her by being funny. But
he was very funny in The Gentle Touch. He was quite an eccentric character, wasn't he?
George Sewell was the other one, and George Sewell.
Yes, he was a bit more. He was playing a dodgy character, I think, wasn't he?
A bit more of a gangster,
yes, and he had a boxing ring or something. Was that the one?
That's right. Yeah,
that's the one. Yes, yeah. I remember thinking Maggie and him. But I think they split up after a couple of episodes.
They did. It was something about a ring or something, and she was being tarnished by his image.
Yes.
But I can't remember any others. Were there more?
There were 56 episodes in total.
Well, 56 episodes, but how many romances? I don't think she had that.
Oh, romances, sorry. I remember Bernard Holly. I remember she got wined and dined by a few different blokes and stuff along the way. But I really remember Bernard Holly as because he was like a recurring character. He came in towards the end. He came in quite a few episodes, didn't he?
Yeah. No. He was, part of the company because he was so successful and funny, as you say, and a bit different to the normal kind of copper wooing somebody, hello, darling, kind of thing. He wasn't anything like that at all. So they were making it up as they went along, a lot of it, like they were going to get rid of me. And then they said, oh, no, he could still be a guard dog. And Bernard Holly, well, oh, no, he's good. We'll keep him. We'll put some more episodes in.
So you proved yourself, you say?
I think it was Jill and Bill. The leading lady says she'd like somebody to stay. Then
can't argue with that. Well, I mean, you stayed throughout. You were there right to the end, weren't you?
Yeah. I think 49 episodes or something. I think we did 12 a year.
Yes, that's right.
6 months on and then 6 months off, which was another great job, really, and very nice. You do other things in between.
Yeah, I imagine you did lots of theatre roles and film, television roles as well in between Gentle Touch.
I auditioned for Jonathan Miller for the BBC Shakespeare, Troilus and Cressida. And he said, I see you've been in The Gentle Touch. And I said, well, yeah. And he said, well, perhaps you'd like to be in Shakespeare. It'd be a bit of a change for you, wouldn't it? And he was sort of laughing as well as being snobby about cops and robbers, really.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And he was great. It was very lucky, very lucky.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much for that.
Even know about The Gentle Touch if you haven't been watching it, Jonathan.
Well, exactly. How can you criticise? So, yeah, because I know there's a lot of snobbery about soaps as well, isn't there, in general, I find.
Oh, yeah.
Have you found that in when you've said you've been in EastEnders, do you find that people are quite negative towards that?
A lot of the other people don't watch it, in the profession.
Really?
Yes. So you go to casting people.
I have to admit, I don't really watch EastEnders anymore. I mean, back in your day, I was watching it regularly. I think at times, I've not really. I don't watch any of the soaps really anymore because they're all on too much for me.
I didn't watch it when I was in it, and it was only.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Julia Sawala came along as my daughter. And
she was great. She was very nasty as your daughter. I did like that storyline. Annie Palmer, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, she was strong. She was wonderful. But she explained to me who everybody was, and I'd been in it for a year. And she said, really? No, he runs a fish and chip shop. I said, oh, who's he going out with? Oh, he's going out. Oh, really? Oh, I did. Because all my scenes were with Barbara, really. So I didn't really know anybody else. When you got the scripts, most people used to tear out the bits I went in.
Oh, really?
For the scenes you were in, because you get in these scripts thinking, oh, God, there's loads here. Oh, no, my bit's only that much, so I can cope.
I suppose it's too difficult to kind of keep up with what everybody else is doing. You have to concentrate on what you're doing, can't you?
Yeah, and I suppose you could justify it by saying, well, I didn't know what was going on in what's his house. So as a method actor, I didn't need to know their storyline,
Yes.
Just sheer laziness, really. But yeah, she told me everybody was.
Oh, brilliant. Well, we'll go back to EastEnders. We've only got a few more questions just about Jill. Well, this is actually not actually about Jill, it's about the Gentle Touch. It's just to mention the haunting theme tune by Roger Webb to the Gentle Touch, because the original slow saxophone-led version was my favourite, as I thought that really captured the mood of a series. So it's a very general question. Which theme did you personally prefer? The faster one from series 2 onwards, or that slow one?
I love the film noir kind of first one.
Yes. Yeah, I really wish I hadn't changed that from series 2. Not that I didn't dislike the series 2. They still played the slower one at the end of every episode, didn't they?
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was sort of haunting.
Very.
God, where are we going with this?
Picked in, yeah.
And it became
I'm glad we were on the same page about that, because somebody said, no, I prefer the faster version. It was much more action oriented. And I just thought, no, I thought the first one was just really captured it. Sorry.
The trouble was, they had all the action and leaning on cars and and then we got back to the rather long script. So it wasn't about cars and punching people and the Sweeney. It was back to the original kind of idea of the Gentle Touch, with this sympathetic woman who was running a big station of police cops. In fact, I think she did it so well that, unlike when Helen Mirren did it, and everybody said, oh, look, she's running this place and she's doing she's sexy and she's ordering these blokes about and some of them really hate her. Jill just took over and did it. It wasn't like, oh my God, how could that happen?
Because your character, I thought, was very sympathetic towards her, or very supportive. He respected her, because there was Brian
Gascoine.
That's it. Yeah, I always forget his surname, how to pronounce his surname, sorry. But his character was quite like the very old-fashioned sort of blokey, bigoted kind of views, whereas yours, he didn't seem to have a problem with, being ordered around by a woman.
Not at all. And he became part of the family, Jake Barrett, as well, and would pick them up from the airport and things like that. So God, it should be, shouldn't it? A woman, a man, they're human beings. They're black, white, whatever. We're just human, and she was very human. So, why wouldn't you?
I will tell you.
Good luck we can to have got that character so well. I know Thatcher was around and what have you, but there weren't that many strong female leads around, and they really put her on the map quite right.
She broke the mold, didn't she? And she opened the doors for, I always say she was the one that Jill was the one that opened doors for, like, Helen Mirren for Prime Suspect and all the, police dramas that came afterwards, which had a lady in the lead.
Yeah, I think you're right. And again, she didn't get enough credit for it, really.
No, I don't think she did. I always thought it was a shame.
There's been a lot of people saying, actually, this was groundbreaking stuff.
It is a landmark in British TV, isn't it?
It is, but it isn't, because they haven't really celebrated it properly.
No, I think it's a shame with that. I mean, I started watching Gentle Touch again because after it was repeated on Granada Plus, that channel went defunct, so that wasn't around anymore. And then I didn't see Gentle Touch for years, and then they all released them all on DVD, which was a nice thing to do. I brought them all on DVD.
Still waiting for the check.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've been out for quite a while, so they should get a move on, surely.
It was shown in Germany as well as Kommissar Maggie, which I thought was quite good.
Really?
Kommissar Maggie.
I hadn't thought of that. Do you know any other countries it was shown in? Did it ever make the States?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think there was enough action in it. That was the problem, even for those days. It was going back a bit to, maybe to Z-Cars and what have you, which is also brilliantly written, but didn't have a lot of action.
But I like that. It had a really nice down-to-earth feel. You felt engaged by the characters. I mean, JIll Gascoine, what really sealed the first episode and made me want to watch again, it was a very sad scene where her husband had died, and you're in it. It was the very end of episode 1, and Jill delivered this beautiful monologue about how she hadn't seen her husband properly and now he's gone. And while you were standing there, I don't know if you remember that, but then I remember it cut to her looking at a picture of her husband, and she looked up, and then the theme tune clicked, and I just felt so sort of sorry for her and like, oh, I need to watch this. What happens now, part 2, and then I watched the whole series. Then
they really did look after her character, and Bill Marlowe always said you've got to look after the regulars because they're the ones that people are tuning into every week. So however many starry guests you have to look after the regulars, and they certainly looked after Jill, and she deserved it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Oh, right, because this, I must mention this. Oh, you've already let me know about Jill not being able to drive, because that was on here. I do just need to mention there's a lady called Gail Crawford who contacted me recently and informed me that she's actually working on a book. She's 3 chapters into it, working on the Jill Gascoine story. So I'm fingers crossed on that, because it would be nice to have some sort of book or commemoration of her, wouldn't it, of her life?
Absolutely. Yeah, you were so right in saying that it sort of drifted past everybody, and it shouldn't have.
No, I'm still kind of waiting for this documentary, but then I thought I'll do my own tribute in the meantime. So
Well,
fingers crossed on that.
A pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
That's it. That's it.
It's good. Like I said, it's a nice privilege for me to hear about. I mean, obviously, all those years ago when I was a little boy watching Cat's Eyes, which I know you don't like, but when I was watching Cat's Eyes all those years ago, I can't imagine, I'd be talking about this.
The thing about Jill, I think, was that facially she was just wonderful, and she was so honest. She was always looking out, like some actors just look in.
That's it. She does a lot of acting with her eyes, I find. She doesn't need to say too much dialogue. I find that she can say a lot of things with her eyes. Did you find that?
Well, I mean, those are the best actors and actresses. I
Absolutely,
think,
yeah.
who actually look you straight in the eye, and you totally believe what they're thinking, and they're thinking about you because they're looking at you and thinking, what have you done? What are you thinking?
Yeah.
And she was just great at that, but unfortunately she was a little bit short, Jill.
Oh, really? Was she? How
so
short,
you usually
was
see
she?
her behind the desk in The Gentle Touch, or having dinner with somebody. But in Cat's Eyes, she did have to run around, and
yes,
she wasn't built like Diana Rigg or somebody like that, who was rather athletic and whatever. Which was also, it did look a bit silly, these 3 ladies running around London.
Well, I mean, Jill once said, and this was coming from Jill, she did say she thought Cat's Eyes got a bit silly because it was basically like a sort of Charlie's Angels, but set in Kent. I'm not knocking Cat's Eyes because I know some Cat's Eyes fans are watching. I did love it. Now I'm older, I obviously see that, I just look at it as, well, it's fun for what it was, but no contest ever for Gentle Touch.
Her character on The Gentle Touch was groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Charlie's Angels in Kent is not breaking at all. I mean, not even worth
it was a bit like that. And again, you didn't get to see any of her private life in Cat's Eyes. And
that was all running around, wasn't it?
No. I mean, Bernard Holly did appear in one early episode of Cat's Eyes, playing the same character. Yeah. And I think that was the only link to Gentle Touch that you ever had. You never really heard about anything else. And
I mean, they were, 3 good actresses and well directed, but if you haven't got the script behind anything, you're on a hiding to nothing, really. What can you do?
There's one thing I have, I understand what you're saying there, because when I look at Cat's Eyes now, which I think I saw an episode recently, there was sometimes I couldn't make out, are they trying to make this like a sort of comedy drama? Is it supposed to be serious? I mean, they did have a few serious moments in there, but most of it was quite sort of action adventure, Saturday night adventure, very sort of of its time, really.
Charlie's Angels,
yeah.
And
Don Warrington was the man that was.
Yeah, critics said that as well. This is a really poor version of Charlie's Angels, and have such a good actress and give her something like that to do. But she wanted it.
Really? Oh, did she?
Because to have her own show and not have dogs like me around.
Really? Because I have to say to you, and sorry for Cat's Eyes fans, but I do hear a lot of Gentle Touch fans actually do despair of that. I know my mom was a huge Gentle Touch fan, horrified by Cat's Eyes. It was like, what had they done?
Yeah, I think they did harm to her career, I think, as well, because it became a bit of a joke in the industry.
Yeah, it was just,
it's unfair.
it was very gimmicky.
Yeah.
Quite gimmicky. I hate to put it down because I did find it fun, and sometimes there are parts of it that I find fun. I mean, I like Leslie Ash and Rosalind Landor and stuff, but I mean, I loved that when I was a child because it used to be that and Dempsey and Makepeace were my favourite programs when I was very little, and I'd say Cat's Eyes was more in line with Dempsey and Makepeace for that over the top.
But Dempsey and Makepeace was, I mean, the chemistry between those two was very good.
Oh God, yeah, I love Dempsey and Makepeace.
And he was sort of American, so it kind of carried it off, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas
I felt like Cat's Eyes was, they tried to make Cat's Eyes like an American kind of series. Yeah. But it didn't quite click because it was kind of like a British stiff upper lip kind of version of Charlie's Angels. It was something that wasn't quite connecting, was there?
Absolutely. It was Charlie's Angels and Stays, wasn't
it? Yeah. I don't want complaints from Cat's Eyes fans. Like I said, I do think it's fun, but, you know, the Gentle Touch was a serious watch. And as soon as I saw the opening titles, I kind of expected, oh, it'll be like Cat's Eyes, but set in a police station. And it was a happy surprise, actually. And suddenly I thought, oh, this is much, much better. I'm really getting to know Maggie now. She's brilliant. So that's how I became a fan of the Gentle Touch through Cat's Eyes. So it all the way around.
The trolls will be after you from Cat's Eyes now.
I know. There's a Cat's Eyes fan group on Facebook. Actually, I've got to share this in, so I do apologise. So,
three of them, four of them.
Never mind. But yeah. Well, we were talking about Gail Crawford before about the book, and she did have a question for you. Did Jill do her own stunts? Because there was an episode called Decoy when she went undercover as a barmaid to trap a serial rapist. And it got really physical at the end. Did you know if Jill did her own stunts?
I think they had a stand-in as well because it was so physical. And the thing is, she would have done it because she was quite fearless about that sort of thing. But you can't risk injuring your leading lady because then what are you going to do next week? You can't work.
No, of course.
All this stuff about Steve McQueen and everybody did that. It's not true. They couldn't risk it. They couldn't insure them to do this stuff. No. So she did quite a lot of stuff, but a lot of that sequence was done by another stunt lady.
Because she got thrown, I don't know if you remember that episode, she got thrown some boxes or something. It turned out to be the journalist who was actually reporting on these rapists.
Yeah, that was quite sick, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was it was quite a twist because he got her at the end. I know your character was kind of, you know, undercover and was watching her really. I don't know if you remember that. You were put in the bar to keep an eye on her.
Yeah.
Somehow he got in her car. Somehow he managed to get in her car with all these blokes watching and then take her to this warehouse. But luckily you were all not far behind.
Yeah, it was.
Can you remember that?
Yeah, it was. I found it very creepy, that episode, actually, because he was a newspaper journalist, wasn't he? And he was
it was
on the scene when it had happened, and he thought, "Oh my God, this man not only rapes people, but then he comes back and reports about it."
It was a very creepy storyline, but very well done.
Yeah. No, again, it engaged with different things and how vicious and nasty that is.
Yeah, there was an eerie feel to it. You know, the streets of London. You know.
Yeah, it's a good location, London.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm sure Nigel once told me, Nigel Rathbone, when I spoke to him on social media, I'm sure the Brixton riots weren't far off, were they, when you were filming? Or were you?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't get involved with that, but...
you were quite close by.
In fact, we were close by. I'm not sure if we dealt with racism very much, actually. And we
it did touch on racism a little bit in certain episodes.
Well, certainly the anti-Semitic one.
Yes.
Episode. And they said that we don't want to mention number 88 or whatever it was, and different St. George and what have you. And Bill Marlowe and Jill and myself said, well, you know, what's the point of doing anti-Semitic program if you don't mention the perpetrators. And they went to the lawyers and everything, and they said, yeah, you can mention them. But for a while, they didn't mention any of the organizations.
No way. I mean, that was a good episode as well. I think they came home one night, the guy that was the victim of anti-Semitism, and his walls had all been graffitied and stuff. That's the one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because there's that many episodes. I'm just suddenly, now you're talking about it, it's brought it all back. Okay.
You should go on Mastermind, answering questions on the JIll Touch.
Yes. Oh, right. Yeah, because this is, I wrote this down because I did want to talk to you about this. Because I thought one of the interesting things looking at the Gentle Touch nowadays is obviously the complete differences in society back then. For instance, the subject of homosexuality was still very taboo and considered controversial then, to a point it's almost frightening. And obviously also another one thing I noticed was in the police station, all the men smoking away and stuff, which of course was banned now, but obviously that's something that gives...
Yes, it dates it, but that's what
I'm sure I heard your podcast. You've got 3 flags, didn't you, for that?
and it was one of your perks.
Yeah.
Well, have you got me fags? Got me Rothmans, and you'd be fogging away at those all day long. God, terrible.
Yeah.
And in the breaks, have a fag here.
Yeah, just to pass
Have you smoked all those
takes?
Did you use them just during the scenes? I said, I had to do that scene 3 times. So I had 3 fags.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, it was full of white men as well, the station, which nowadays people would have more sense. But in those days, I suppose they said, well, there weren't black police officers, at the station. There might have been a few on the streets, but it was lacking in people of color, as they say. We didn't have many guests or anything who were Asian or black from.
Apart from Floella Benjamin, she appeared in one episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's lovely. I follow her on Twitter, but there was a lovely lady. There was a lady that came into the program, and she was going to train to be. She was black, and she was going to be trained to be a police officer. I remember Maggie speaking to her, and then Brian's character. Yeah, his character sort of kind of said his bigoted remarks, and I think he frightened her off or something like that, if I remember rightly. I don't know if you can remember that.
I don't actually. No, I don't remember that.
Well, there's so many episodes, and it's been so long now, hasn't it?
There are.
Yeah.
Well, we had a police advisor on it.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Some of his stories of misogyny and were just terrifying. They get, dirty films out on a Friday and ask the female office staff to come in and watch it with them.
Really?
And the way they referred to them, and of course you couldn't. Well, you could show it on television. I don't know why we didn't, really.
Oh, interesting.
There would have been a different bunch of fellas, I suppose. And maybe Maggie Forbes would have said, I don't want any more of this happening at the station.
Yes.
But, you do what you can do, I suppose. And there are some things you didn't do in those days, which is unfortunate. Most black actors were sweeping the floor in Casualty, and that's about as far as they got, really.
Definitely.
And now you got Hugh Portia and people, just brilliant actors.
And times have moved on now. I mean, we're still at a petty pace, I say, but moved on.
Yeah, at a very petty pace, really.
Okay, just one more, if you don't mind, about JIll Gascoine. I didn't realise we were going to be chatting so long because it was so many interesting stories. But I just want to pick up on the camaraderie in the Gentle Touch because there was great chemistry between you, Jill, and all the other actors. So I just wondered if that was reflected off screen. Did you, Jill, William Marlowe, etc., socialise outside of work at all?
We'd have meals and things together, but not that much. You'd pretty strong schedule to get through. And then on the Friday night when we'd finished, we would always go out for a meal, which was just lovely and just be. I mean, we rehearsed in a huge church down by Waterloo.
No way.
And, we were just people, We weren't being actors. And,
no, you were just enjoying yourselves.
Our leading lady was very, very down to earth, and Bill was as well. Brian.
Yeah. He was a superb actor as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, and Derek,
So he's still with Casualty now, isn't he? I
He
think.
is. He is
Yeah.
a casualty. They'll be wheeling him around in the chairs.
Yeah. I wondered it because I wanted to get him on. I wondered if he still gets recognised for the gentle touch now, because of course everybody always says, "Oh, that's Charlie from Casualty with curly hair."
And of course, he was in the Long Good Friday. He had a big
Oh, of
part.
course, with Bob
Friday.
Hoskins, brilliant film. Yeah.
I thought, well, Derek will just take off now. He's up doing Casualty for 40 years. That's probably very nice too.
No, but yeah, I know what you mean. Oh, well, we won't do that one because we've discussed that. The other question was about the spark between you and Maggie, but we've discussed that now. So, yeah, on the personal side of things, can you remember what sort of things made? There was a question from a lady. What sort of things made Jill laugh? Did she enjoy a good laugh and a joke and banter on set and that sort of thing?
She was laughing. She laughed all the time. I mean, obviously none of us did jokes, as it were, but reflecting on different things that were happening or different guests who came in, not in a particularly nasty way, but things would make her giggle.
Yeah.
That would make you. She was just a very relaxed, very nice lady.
And I imagine that eased tension as well, because it was a serious show that you were filming, lots of heavy emotional scenes a lot of the time as well. So I suppose that laughing in between really kind of, helped.
A lot of actors in other things that I've been in, don't take any notice of the guests or anything. Oh, hello, you all right? And Jill made it her business to say, hello, can I get you a cup of tea? Or when you're on the set,
that's nice.
That crewman, he's got a secret kettle hidden behind. And if you're nice to him, he'll go and give you, she was just lovely, really, very generous.
Well, funnily enough, because you'll remember this, before Leslie Ash and Jill starred together in Cat's Eyes, Leslie was in one of the episodes of Gentle Touch as a punk rocker. Yeah. And she said exactly what you've just said. It was her first TV role, I think it was, or something. She said Jill really looked after her. And
yeah, we were impressed with her because Leslie had the first Walkman.
Oh, really? Oh, God.
I
mean, they were all the rage. They were still quite modern back then, weren't they? When I was at the end of the 80s. So that was really early days for Walkman then, of course.
Me and Bill Oldie said, Robbie, what's that? She said, yeah, listen. Oh, my God, that's amazing.
Well, I still do that at Top Energy.
She was lovely. She was lovely. I think, I don't know, maybe the magic of Jill or something rubbed off on people because we didn't have any nasty people come in or being difficult or what have you. Everybody relaxed in her company and she was the leading lady, so you took the lead from her. Perhaps if she'd been a bit nasty and a bit, no, I'm not having this, and why is the camera on him when it should be on me? He doesn't do any of that. Things might have been a very different atmosphere.
Yeah, so it made everybody I imagine she put everybody at ease, didn't she, doing that?
Look forward to going into work rather than, oh God, I'm going to have to deal with whoever it might be.
Yeah.
Just look forward to have a chat and a smile and, oh God, it's just lovely.
Well, thank you very much. That's the first part. About JIll Gascoine. I've loved hearing stories about Jill and the Gentle Touch. I'll just ask you, obviously, did you ever see Jill much after the Gentle Touch finished?
I went to see her in a play in Eastbourne, something and shopping or something. And
oh, is that when you said there was hardly anybody there?
Hardly anybody in on a matinee, and I just felt kind of a bit sad, really, because she was this icon. Here she was in a half-empty matinee in Eastbourne.
And how did she react to that? Was she sort of soldiering on and not bothered about it, or was it really?
I think a little of the spark had gone out.
Well, it's natural, isn't it? Yes.
If you're on stage and somebody comes around and says, hello, oh, you were in, were you? Not a very good house. It's a little bit embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I can imagine how deflating that must be to have worked in a play and then find that
Yeah, and to find that, well, I suppose Fred took over her life, so it wasn't so bad, but
I suppose she started a new life in America, because I imagine she did quite a lot of theatre in America as well, didn't she? And I think she did a few TV roles.
Yeah.
It was a shame she disappeared, kind of.
It was. And as you say, she sort of disappeared and they didn't revitalise her contribution to women in television, really.
No, I still think The Gentle Touch deserves to be rerun on like ITV3, that sort of channel, the mainstreams channels, because I still think it holds. Obviously, you can tell it's of its time and the society's changed and stuff, but the drama, like you said, the scripts and performances, and Jill's performance really does hold up really well.
Yeah, she holds the screen. I mean, she's very watchable.
Beautiful lady as well. Beautiful lady and beautiful actress.
All the way through, just a beautiful person. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing your memories of Jill. I've really enjoyed that. It's been quite, like I said, it's been a nice privilege hearing about that, hearing kind of